Hello, everyone. My name is Cade Lemons, and I work with some incredible people in the Reach Lab on the Nice Spaces Project, a study of weight change in women with and without a history of adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, during the COVID-19 pandemic. Nice Spaces is actually an acronym for Neurotrophic Indicators of Cognition, Executive Skills, Plasticity, and Adverse Childhood Experiences Study. Originally, the Nice Spaces study goal was to further understand the relationships between adverse childhood experiences and obesity in order to help further improve obesity treatment outcomes. This consisted of two primary aims. The first of which was to test whether brain health, measured by the neurotrophins BDNF and GDNF, is related to ACEs and executive functioning in a sample of women with obesity. The second aim was to test if neurotrophins predict or change in response to weight loss trajectory. Unfortunately, the Nice Spaces weight loss groups were canceled after 3 weeks of treatment due to the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. However, we took this opportunity to track how weight changed in our sample of women with obesity and with and without a history of ACEs amidst the environmental stressor of COVID-19. ACEs, or adverse childhood experiences, are traumatic experiences that occur before an individual reaches the age of 18. Some examples of ACEs are physical abuse, verbal abuse, and sexual abuse. Of note, ACEs are associated with an increased risk for adult obesity. General exposure to acute and chronic stress have also been shown by several studies to contribute to weight gain. The main purpose of this study was conducted to see if environmental stressors, i.e., the COVID-19 global pandemic, led to differential changes in weight across women with and without a history of ACEs. For our methods, there were 31 adult female participants, all of which were assessed for ACEs using the self-report on an online screener, which was the Adverse Childhood Experiences Survey, which is 10 yes or no questions of whether they experienced a specific ACE. The participants were then broken up into 3 distinct categories. A group who had not experienced any of the ACEs on the list, that ended up being 12 of the participants, a group who had a medium amount of ACEs, which we classified as 1 or 2 ACEs, that ended up being another 12 participants, and finally a group that had experienced a high amount of ACEs, which we classified as 3 or more adverse childhood experiences, and that ended up being 7 participants. Baseline weights were measured in lab in February 2020. Upon COVID onset, each participant was given a home weight scale so that they could measure their weight from home. The lab collected weight data from each participant in February, the baseline measurement, April, this was the start of the shelter-in-place order, May, which was the end of the shelter-in-place order, June, which was when the reopening of the community almost fully, and by fully this meant that restaurants and bars had opened again, even if they were required to wear masks, as well as most businesses and stores in the area had also opened up fully for the first time since March. Lastly, we gathered weight data in July for a 6-month follow-up period. After gathering all of the data, we found that overall the full sample gained 1.7 pounds from the baseline to the reopening of the community, which was February to June. The group with no ACEs gained 0.4 pounds. The group with a medium amount of ACEs actually lost 0.3 pounds, and the group with a high amount of ACEs gained 7.2 pounds. Of note, in the month after reopening, as life returned to normal, this group did see a slight weight loss. And that is pretty much the exact same information, but just kind of in words. In conclusion, in a sample of women with obesity, those with a history of early life stress experienced higher weight gain throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. These results support previous findings that ACEs are a risk factor for obesity progression, especially under the environmental stress of a global pandemic and shelter-in-place orders. However, it is important to note that this study was limited by its small sample size, and findings may not generalize to individuals of other genders or in different geographical regions, as this study was conducted in a rural, south-central community in America. Future studies on impact of early life experiences on weight gain under stressful circumstances is very much still warranted. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about the Nice Spaces study.